Or maybe try, I don't even know if you can hear me, or try to reboot your computer. Okay, okay, all right. I see some glimpse of you. Just have to be patient, okay? Thank you all for coming. I'm waiting for my, guests as other people may decide to join us. Hi, Hanno. How are you today? Hi, James. Um, my guest, she's having some internet issues, so I'm gonna wait here patiently. Okay. In the meantime, other people are joining us today for our conversation. Okay, we'll try to get her back. No problems. When things go awry, which they do in life, we just have to just stay calm. Okay, because getting upset or riled up is not going to solve the situation. Hello, Jeff. So we'll see when Emma can join us. She was having some internet issues. She has a lot to say. So I'm going to start off by talking about. I'm gonna give you the title of our discussion today. We're talking about severing. Okay, severing the cord to toxic relationships. Okay, so Emma Lyons contacted me a couple of days ago. She said, "Hey, I want to go live and talk about this." So we had a conversation on Zoom, and honestly, we have a lot in common because I've experienced the things that she's talking about today since early childhood. Okay. So what we're talking about severing the cord to toxic behaviors and relationships. Okay. And around this work is healing from these narcissistic power systems. Okay. Family trauma and nervous system reprogramming, helping people to reclaim power from shame, clear subconscious patterns, and to feel safe receiving without burnout. That's a lot in itself right there. And I really wish she was here. She's having internet issues. Okay. So at any given time, we need to be able to uh, adjust accordingly. Hi, Bob. How are you? Thanks for joining us today. Um, our guest, Emma Lyons, who has the publication Trauma Matrix, had contacted me about having this conversation today. Okay. Um, we all have experienced such things in life. Okay. Whether it's in our actual family or during our workplaces, we have uh, come across these narcissistic power systems. Okay. So, and then a lot of people have experienced family trauma, you know, and whether they want to talk about it or not is up to them. So, um, all these years I've been walking around with all this trauma, and it's been coming out in my relationships, in my communication. Hey, hello, Emma. I am so glad you're here.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes, I hear you loud and clear. 10-4.
I don't know what's going on. I could see myself and now I can just see my profile image. I can't see. Can you see? But at least you can hear me.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay. So I'm Margaret Williams. Okay. Let me introduce myself. Okay. I help marginalized leaders stop surviving power systems and start leading with freedom, influence, and authority. I do hear some background noise. I don't know if it's on your end or mine.
Okay. Let me move. You can't see me though, can you? So I'm just gonna move somewhere else. Is
We
that
can
better?
see you. Yeah, we can see
You
you
can.
and we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Because I can just see my profile image. So that's interesting. Is that better now
Yeah.
in terms of background noise?
Okay. If anybody hear any distortion, let me know. I don't know if I turned off the paid subscription or not. Anyway, let's go ahead and have this conversation, okay? And talk to us about. I was telling them that you're gonna talk. We were talking today about healing from narcissistic power systems, okay?
Yeah,
Family trauma and nervous system reprogramming to help people to guide people to reclaim their power from shame, uh, clear subconscious patterns, and to feel safe, while without without burnout. Okay.
absolutely. And we live in a narcissistic world, so narcissistic systems are everywhere. And shame is the enforcement method for these narcissistic systems. Like racism, any kind of hierarchy, it's maintained through shame. That's why in my work, I talk a lot about shame and how to dismantle shame from the outside, from the inside out. Because the cool thing is, Margaret, you become more and more unshameable the more you work on disconnecting your own shame. So, for example, if I say to you, you've got a big nose or whatever, you've got fat hips or whatever it is, right? You only experience shame if you have that little voice inside that says, "Oh my God, I have a really big nose," or whatever. You on some level, you have that voice that agrees with you, with that insult. So once you disconnect that part of you, I call it the inner narcissist because what's commonly called the inner critic, it actually ticks every single box of the narcissist, Margaret, believe it or not. It does. It's grandiose. It thinks it knows best. It tells you what to do. It tells you, who are you to start that podcast? Who are you to do that thing? And we're told from everywhere, and it tells you that it's trying to keep you safe. Just like a narcissist. A narcissist will punch you in the face, kick you in the balls, and tell you can't get on that stage. Who are you to run that podcast? And then tell you they're doing it to try to keep you safe. And that's cultural gaslight as well, because culturally, this is constantly reinforced that this inner critic is trying to keep us safe, when really it's just a narcissistic element that we have internalized to attack ourselves. And the more we disconnect from this, the more power we reclaim, and the more unhookable and unmanipulable we become to these narcissistic systems on the outside. And the other thing, Margaret, the reason why we keep creating, so this is why the revolution keeps eating itself. The revolution comes and everyone's hopeful that everything's going to change, and it ends up just being another autocratic shame-induced system. And because we're so operating out of shame, narcissists operate out of shame, but we all have internalized shame. It's just a
Let me
question.
let
Go
me
ahead, yeah.
mention some. Let me mention something else. Ego. We're talking about the ego.
Oh, yeah. Ego is basically defending itself against shame. And narcissists are basically operating out of that repressed shame. Like, think about Donald Trump or whatever narcissist you like. He's not a psychopath. A psychopath is the only person that doesn't have a shame because they have no empathy, right? But a narcissist is operating out of repressed shame. This is why when someone imitates Donald Trump's dance, he wants to attack them, get rid of them, get them fired. That's because it triggers his repressed shame. So the problem in the world, it's like we have a substrate of shame that's creating these narcissistic systems, and we internalize it and attack ourselves. And
Let's
I see it as, yeah, go ahead.
let's talk about where these things start. Okay, they start from birth or childhood for sure.
Yes. Yeah, so we're taught shame. It's reinforced everywhere. Teach us shame. This is how to be a good girl or a good boy. You need a certain amount of shame in order to be a good person. Otherwise, you are shameless or you are shameful. So you need just the right amount of shame in order to be a good person. It's absolutely incorrect. we are at our worst when we're operating from shame, not our best. This is when we attack others. You know, Pam Bondi, the other week, I wrote an article about her. People said she has no shame. That was what she did. Her performance there at the investigation was classic shame defenses. This is what we do when we're defending shame. We attack, we deflect, we make sarcastic comments, you know. So this is classic shame defenses, and we all do it. You don't need to be a narcissist to do it. So we need to deconstruct these things within ourselves in order to liberate ourselves first, and only then do we have a decent person that's not going to be operating out of this shame matrix, you know.
Let me ask you a question. When most of us were born in the world, we are taught that you have to be competitive. Okay, the ones that be competitive, and the ones that with the louder voices, the ones that are seen, and the ones that are, laid back and, like introverted. We are the ones that become the doormats for the narcissist. To
Yes, absolutely. And maybe you relate to this. I mean, in my family system, I only discovered recently that my mom ticks a number of the boxes of a covert narcissist, and I definitely was a scapegoat within a dysfunctional system. That much is so. The way I responded to this shame, the scapegoat basically becomes the land process shit, the trauma, nobody wants to deal with it. It gets thrown, and it's not consciously, they're not consciously there thinking about it. It just gets directed at the most sensitive person, usually, which is the scapegoat. You might identify that as well, but that was definitely me and my family system. I was the scapegoat. And the way I dealt with it is that I internalized it and attacked myself. So from a young age, I really struggled with, you know, suicidal ideation. I thought that was normal. I thought everyone had suicidal ideation. I thought that was a normal human thing. I put myself down constantly. So I was really struggling with low self-esteem, and I was also the invisible child within my family system. So none of my family noticed that I was suffering, which made me feel even worse and more. So all my life I've thought there's something wrong with me. I'm the really, or we're the sensitive ones are like the canary in the mine. We're feeling the dysfunction while everyone else is just going about their business thinking it's normal.
Well, you and I had a conversation, so it's it's fortunate that we are having all of these important conversations to let other people see that this is abnormal, and we can all come together and help each other heal, because I was the scapegoat too. Okay?
Yeah.
I always wondered why I was treated differently. And now I understand why, because I was of God and all of these individuals were of evil. And they did not want me part of that system. So they kept me down, okay? Kept me them down, kept me small, and by telling me, that I would never be good enough.
Yeah.
I had low self-esteem, self-sabotage. I had thought about committing suicide 3 or 4 different times. Okay. So I knew that as soon as I could get out of that out of this system, that I could do much better, because everything that I tried to do on my own, they found criticism in it, all the gaslighting, all the passive aggressive behavior,
Yeah.
trying to make you everything you say, they twist it around and say, no, that's not true, and try to make you look like that you don't know what you're talking about and that you're crazy.
Yeah,
Everything,
absolutely.
everything they could do to break me down, they did it. Like the military, when you go to boot camp, they break you down completely and build you back up to what they want you to be. And that's basically like an initiation. They're initiating you for what? For how they want to keep you in this box and how they want to control you.
Exactly. Exactly, 100%. But the thing is that it's normal to be angry at the system and at the person and the narcissist and the dysfunctional system. that's totally fine. I experienced rage. I experienced grief. I went through all of it. But the thing that really helped me move out of that rage, which is a healthy stage to go through, is recognizing that this is a systemic problem. These people are not evil, and though it looks like they are, they're operating out of their own repressed shame. That's not to excuse their behavior, but when you see it as a systemic problem, it's not about you personally because you're bad being targeted. It's because the whole system is rotten. So they need someone strong to carry all the rot for them. And you were the person chosen job because you were the strongest, most sensitive one. So
I'll
you
be
were
the
the one that could
chosen
see the
one.
truth. Yeah, you
You
were
the
the
cho-
truth teller. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, but then you become the punching bag as a result. And then if you don't comply, then here comes the sneer campaign. Okay? To to uh to try to break you down. Okay, if I can't break you down this way, then I'll just put a smear campaign in and just say she's crazy, don't believe anything she has to say, that's not the truth, so on and so forth. So they find other ways to break you down. And then they'll bring other people in to uh to be a party of it. You know, everybody
true.
to uh look forward to your downfall. Okay? Because they are
Yes,
jealous and they're envious. So they can't get you one way, they'll get you another. Okay? It's a vicious cycle.
it is. It is. And everyone, we're participating in it, Margaret. When you, as the scapegoat, or me as the scapegoat, when we participate in shame loops, when we attack someone or attack ourselves or deflect or defend a shame, we are participating and recreating those shame loops, which are making the world go round. You know, it's not money that makes the world go round, it's shame. This is what I've discovered in my work.
Through generation to generation, we're continuing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's generational trauma. And the way that I mean, I might still feel anger, but I don't no longer feel rage. And the reason why is that I've come to see it as a systemic problem. It's not personal against me. My mother was also a victim. Narcissists were also victims of narcissists, even the golden child within the family system, the people who often go on to become the narcissist themselves, like Donald Trump. His father was also a narcissist, and he was the golden child within that family system. The scapegoat in his family system is thought to have been his brother who committed suicide. And these people are also victims. That's not to excuse their behavior, but it's to understand that they're operating within this toxic framework that we need to dismantle within ourselves first so that we can dismantle it on the outside second.
I want to say this, okay? Again, I'm gonna get it on tape. Okay. So today's date is March the 12th. Okay. 10:14 a.m. There's a reason for that. Okay. So what I'm gonna say, I found out growing up in this system, I always wondered why my oldest brother, rejected me. Now I understand. Okay. And why my mother hated me. Okay. So then recently I found out all of these people were plotting against me. All these people was never around. Okay. When I was growing up, now they think I have some money, which I don't have. Now they're coming to collect. Okay. They're coming to collect. And I don't have no money. They're looking at the potential. Each and every one of us have potential. Okay? Each and every one of us have potential. And each and every one of them have potential. But people do not want to do the work. They want stuff handed to them on a silver platter. Well, me fucking too. Okay? But I did the work. That's how
Yeah.
I got to where I am today. Because I did the work. I'm the one made the sacrifices. I served 2 tours in Iraq. I served 2 tours in Israel. I worked for the government for 39 years. There was no free lunches. Okay? There was no free rides. So anybody coming to me think that they deserve something, think again. Those days of people pleasing, you know, and
Yeah.
and putting up with people's crap just to feel loved by these people, they don't love you. People that love you are not going to extract from you. They're going to add to you. They're going to pour into you. Okay? If they're not doing those things for you, let them go. Cut them off. I just found out too that my daughter was involved with the whole scam. Don't think she wasn't, because she was indoctrinated as a child. He rejected me, but he took my daughter under his wing. Okay? And he gave her money. He supported her. So obviously, she feels loyalty to him. And I asked her, she's a trucker. And I was like, what are you going to do when you die? She said, Rob, I'm not going to say his name. I messed up. But anyway, she said, he gonna take care of it if something happens to me. Of course, he's going to take care of it. He despised me. So by despising me and loving my daughter, okay, that means that makes me feel like crap. Okay? So what I said is, since he have you anyway, y'all all one group. Birds of a feather flock together. So y'all have each other and y'all go over there by yourselves. And I'm going to continue doing me over here and keep doing what I'm doing. Once a person show you who they are, believe it. Then they come back and try to gaslight, oh, it wasn't like that. No, you said these things, you did these things. Now you have to sit in it. Okay? I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm moving on with my life because they're trying to create these distractions and take me away from the work that I'm trying to do. Okay? I'm not crazy. And I have proof, all of these videos, I am not crazy. And you're not going to try to convince me otherwise.
No, you're not crazy. You are the scapegoat. You are the scapegoat.
Yeah.
But
Guys.
but what I've realized is that the scapegoat is kind of imprint that we take on as the scapegoat in childhood, and we keep attracting and recreating those same kind of systems. This is why the scapegoat from childhood goes into the workplace and becomes the scapegoat there. But we need to dismantle this scapegoat identity internally within ourselves first and take responsibility for that. And then we can start showing a different paradigm. The scapegoats are going to change the world, but we need to move out of this rage. And there's nothing wrong with the rage. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the rage. We need to move from rage to empowerment, to how to move forward from here. Step away from this identity of being the one who was wronged to being the people who are creating something new. And that's the challenge for scapegoats. Yeah.
It was a challenge, but first thing, set boundaries. Be comfortable with being disliked.
Yeah.
Be comfortable with saying no.
Yes.
Mean it. And don't back down. Because when you get rid of all this trash in your life and low vibration people, that opens the world up to bring the things that were meant for you, truly meant for you. But the universe is not going to bring those things in our life with all this crap. Okay? But you put crap on top, you put good on top of crap, that's not going to work. Get rid of all the things in your life that are no longer serving you, including starting to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, we are going to continue to attract these narcissistic people.
Can I jump in there, Margaret? Because I have something to say about that. The loving yourself idea, I think it's really great. But if you try to love yourself while you're still carrying all this shame, it doesn't work. It doesn't stick. So you've got to release the shame first. And this is the part that especially scapegoats, we internalize so much shame as from childhood. And only fairly recently I realized that shame is the problem. Shame is and all these years, all my life I've been trying to fix myself and doing all this healing and therapy work, but none of it was touching the shame layer. So I'd keep taking one step forward and one back, or two steps forward and two steps back, and keep recreating these shame spirals for myself. So, but in my work now, what I do with people, because I've helped people to dismantle the internalized shame system. the what's called the inner critic. I've realized that it operates just like a narcissist, and I've found out a way to take back our power from that thing so that we can no longer be manipulated by narcissistic people and narcissistic cultures and narcissistic systems. This is how we really reclaim our freedom, by taking back our power from this so-called inner critic. And the inner critic is not there to keep you safe. I think this is the biggest lie that I've been told since a very young age. And that makes us want to send love to the thing, take it to therapy. And as we know, that doesn't work with narcissists. All my life, I've tried to send love to this inner critic and treat it like a child. And what it did is it just gave it more what's called supply. And this is why in my life, this inner critic, when it became very malignant, it started saying things like, you might as well be dead. You might as well not be here. This is not the voice of a wounded child that can be taken to therapy. This is a narcissistic voice that we've internalized. And I've found a
Let,
way for taking back our power from this. Go ahead, Margaret. Yeah.
let me say this. What I thought being a good person, that I could combat that with being a good person. But that's like putting good and throwing it in a hole, okay, or a drain, because you cannot penetrate it. The only way you can penetrate it is to uh, exclude access and run the other way.
Exactly. You've got to cut access to the narcissist. And this
Completely.
narcissistic voice, the inner critic, you don't send love to it. You don't take it to therapy. It's not a wounded. Narcissists are wounded, but we don't take them to therapy or send love to them. We cut them off. We do the same thing with this voice in your head, this voice that says you're useless, you're ugly, you'll never amount to anything. And then we take back our power. And this is my work, because nobody else that I know of is saying this. Most therapists and people out there are still saying, send love to this thing, sit down with the shame. And this is often very bad advice, because when people sit down with shame, they spiral in the shame. It's never been modeled for us, how to release shame. And this is what I teach people how to do: release shame so that it's no longer the operating system within yourself. Go ahead,
The,
Margaret.
the where it starts is this. I'm gonna give you an example. The person will disrespect you, okay? And then they want to see how far they can go with you and how far you will allow them to go. And they will keep moving the what you call it?
Moving the needle. Yeah.
Yeah, they see how far you allow them to go. They learn everything they can about you and use what they learn about you against you, to twist, to dominate, to gaslight you. They'll love bomb you. They'll do a bunch of stuff to you to get to you, and they're making you questioning yourself. Okay? And that's where
Yeah.
it starts. That's where it starts. No, you're crazy. No, that's not the way it is. And they isolate you from your friends and your family. That way you don't have nobody. You just have them to rely on. And that's a no-no. Okay? You got to see these red flags up
Absolutely.
front. Their MO is the same. You have to pay attention. I have them come into my DMs, okay? And then first thing they come in my DM, I feel this darkness. I feel something strange, okay? And I was like, this is a narcissist, because I grew up from the family system, and throughout the job, throughout my life, through every relationship, it was narcissist. So I could write a book on it. Okay. I didn't. I studied it from the things that I went through, so I know I can spot them. I can spot them a mile away, male or female, don't matter, because it's the same feeling, it's the same MO, pattern recognition. It'll tell you when you talking to somebody. Sometimes they make themselves like they're talking about you. Oh, I did that 20 years ago. So it's like they're minimalizing you, and you're not even realizing they're doing these things to you. Okay. So we have to pay attention to our body. We have to pay attention to the signs. And you'll say, oh, no, it's just my imagination. Things will get better. Things don't get better. They get worse over time.
Yes. And and absolutely, I agree with everything you said, Margaret. And the reason why narcissists are attracted to people like scapegoats is because we've internalized all this shame. And that's how they manipulate us. They use shame to manipulate us. So once we stop being manipulable by shame, once we release our shame, we become we become super powerful. They can't manipulate us anymore. Shame is the number one strategy for manipulating people. And I'll just say one more thing as well about this. It's not just narcissists. You don't need to be a narcissist to use shame. We've all done it. You know, you see someone you don't like, especially women do this to other women because women as a collective, we have been scapegoated. Black people have been scapegoated. Uh, Immigrants are currently being scapegoated hardcore now in the United States. So these are the current scapegoats for the system. So if you were scapegoated in your family and you were also black like you have the double whammy of that, you know? It's not just individual in your family, it's it's on multiple levels. So I found this shame narcissistic thing. It's like fractals. It's fractal out. We internalize it. But the cool thing is, we don't need to stop the narcissist. We stop the internalized shame, and this is how we take back our power. And I've found a way to do that because all my life I wanted to be dead. I thought it was useless, a failure. I had these constant negative, and I've found a way to stop that now. You know, I've found a way to break out of that shame spiral and to actually release the shame, which is something that no one has ever taught me. I discovered it for myself, and now I teach and work with people to really break out of this internalized shame that we're all living in. And we as the scapegoats are going to be the truth tellers. We're gonna create new systems. We're going to be the ones who create new systems because while we're operating from shame, and everyone is. The narcissist and pretty much everyone is operating on some level from shame, conscious or unconscious. And we need to create systems that aren't operating from this shame. And this is how we're going to create a new world. It needs to happen from the individual level. And only then can we create collective change out there and new systems that are not going to be narcissistic. We need to disconnect this narcissist that we've internalized first. And that's
Let,
really the key to everything. Go ahead.
okay, I have a couple things. One thing is each and every one of us do have some narcissism in us, some more than others.
Absolutely. We do. We do.
Okay, so that's the thing to keep in mind.
Yes.
Okay, when you're going too far right, okay, then you bring yourself back, you take a pause, take a breath, and say, okay, let me go back because I done went too far to the right or to the left. You know what I'm saying? So I always check myself because, again, you know, you have the A personality. Many of us are high performing leaders. Okay, so if we have to be go getters, we have to go out there and get what we can get. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we have to be competitive at it. So you just have to know. You just have to know how to draw the line. That's why my values are always. I always use that as my you know, my what you put a call on the sail, the boat. You know, I have to use that. My that because I can go to the far. Okay, so I like okay, I can't go there. Now, the girl talked. Capan. Okay, I'll just say this: how do you use self acceptance about your hair? I'm gonna tell you about it. Okay, my hair has always been thin. My mother had thin hair. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, I used to have dreadlocks. Okay, I've had my hair on blonde, okay? But I know that dye is not good for us, okay? I used to have a perm. I used to have a jerry curl. Been there, done all that. And I'm okay with my hair the way it is, okay? My hair fell out when I was going through stuff with my job. They was trying to fire me, okay? My hair fell out. I think it's grown back a little bit. It don't bother me. Somebody else, it bothers somebody else. Oh well, you don't have to look at it. Okay. So I remember what's that girl name? I forgot the girl name. She had that hair. My mama told me, your hair is your glory. Okay, my hair is still my glory. It is what it is. Okay. We have to work with what we have. All these chemicals and shit we use, you put the we put the dye in there. We put the perm in there. All of these things have all these chemicals, and that shit is killing us to look beautiful. What I saw that movie with what's that girl named Demi Moore? That was a weird ass movie. What people do to themselves to look beautiful. Okay, beauty
That
is in the
yeah,
excuse me. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, if you don't like the way I look or whatever, then go find you somebody else. Okay, I'm not trying to put on no airs. Okay, I am who I am. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. That's where I'm at today. I ain't going through all that and doing all that. I used to wear those high heels, shoes be like this. My feet be killing me. I like fuck. I'm not doing that shit to please somebody else. I want to be pleased. Let's talk about that. Okay, I'm over all of that. What was that? Indy Irene? See, she said something about my hair or love my hair or something. I love myself the way I am. If you don't like it, then just go away. Okay? I'm not trying to be somebody that I'm not. Okay? You want somebody authentic. Okay? You go over there, somebody beautiful, you get over there, then their mask fall off, and then you see this narcissist fall out. No, thank you. Bye. Okay? Damn. I, I, I'd rather stay single and celibate. That way I have peace.
yeah,
Okay? Because dealing with narcissists my whole life, I don't want it and don't need it. Because once you sign up, your life is no longer your own. Everything goes to shit. Isn't that right, Emma?
exactly. Well, I totally agree, and I love the level of self acceptance that you have for yourself, and just not caring about what anyone thinks. I really admire the famous person that I admire at the moment is Bad Bunny, because I feel he's got that same thing going. I feel he's like, he does not give a damn what anyone thinks. He does what he wants. He gets criticized because he triggers everyone. He is like a shame. Everyone feels shame when they look at him because he's so authentic, and they attack him because of that, they attack him because he is the mirror for them. And he doesn't pretend to be perfect. So I really admire him at the moment. He's my number one kind of model for that shameless living. And the program that I run that I help people disconnect from shame is called Reclaim Your Shameless. Because this word shameless, Margaret, it has taken on a meaning in our culture. Like I shame, even in our language, shame is enforced as some kind of moral system to keep people in line. So you need shame in order to be a good person. You have too much shame, then you're shameful, and if you don't have enough, then you're shameless. All of these are shaming terms that are designed to keep people in line, and it trains us. It gets us fully into our body, into our DNA, that shame is good for you, and really, it's not. Shame is the idea, because we're talking about guilt and shame. Guilt is the idea I've done something bad. I feel bad because I've done something bad. That can be useful. That leads to repair. That leads to accountability. Shame is the opposite. Shame is I am bad. Something is wrong with me. And we're told constantly that it's good for you. Even people like Brene Brown says this is the conventional wisdom that there's such a thing as healthy shame, that you need a certain amount of shame to be a good person. Brene Brown says she does an amazing TED talk about shame, but then she says you need a certain amount of shame. If you don't have shame, then you would be a psychopath. I fundamentally disagree with that perspective. The problem with psychopaths is not that they experience no shame, it's that they have no capacity for empathy. So they're in a different category. They're an exception to the rule that everyone is operating out of shame. They're the exception. The psychopaths and the sociopaths. Everyone else is operating out of shame, in my opinion. And most human dysfunction has some kind of imprint of shame in it. From suicidal ideation, people who commit suicide, I feel like shame is 9 times out of 10 it has to be present for people to actually take that act. No matter how bad things get, Margaret, you need that voice inside to say, you're useless. There's no point in you being here for you to actually go and take action. But all kinds of human dysfunction, shame is present, up to systemic things like genocide, racism. shame is present. And shame is the problem. And we're constantly gaslit and told that shame is good for you. And it's absolutely not. We do not need it. Shame inhibits accountability. Shame shuts down our ability for empathy. This is why when you experience shame, you attack yourself or you attack someone else because we lose our capacity for empathy. So
Also,
shame is the problem. It's not the solution.
also the persecution of the LGBTQ community.
Yes,
It's ridiculous. Like if you had a choice, okay, if you had a choice, and they say, okay, they're giving out this thing, and so they say, okay, would you prefer to be a man or a woman? Why? You know what I'm saying? Why do you have to choose? Why you just can't live your life freely with the way you want to? Okay, and then have us fighting among ourselves over what? What are we fighting over? Okay, among ourselves. We should be trying to help each other heal from all the trauma that we have been experienced our whole life. Some of it we've blocked out because it's so painful that we don't want to deal with it.
100%. And the sensitive people, we come off worse because we're like the canaries in the coal mine. We feel the dysfunction first. We internalize it first. And this is why the scapegoat, we become the truth teller and we're the ones who can change the world. So this is the power of being the scapegoat. And we have internalized so much shame that we have two choices. We can either, go into addiction and lose ourselves to our shame, or we can go through it, come out, become the truth teller, and go out stronger and find a new way for ourselves to move forward shamelessly. And shamelessly is a good thing. When we're not operating out of our shame, that's when we operate at our best. But you'll notice in the English language, that's not what shameless means. Shameless is a slur. Shameless is an insult. If you call someone shameless, you're trying to offend them. It means I was triggered by you. Ooh, look at her. She's so shameless. She has no shame. She's a bad person. But really, it's about my comfort. When we shame someone, even if there's a child here who's making noise and I want him to be quiet, I might shame him and then tell myself I'm doing it to help him. But really, that's totally not true. When we shame other people, we do it for our own good. And you don't need to be a narcissist to shame people. We all do it. When we feel shame, we shame someone else and it makes us feel a little bit better. It gives us that narcissistic lift. We feel powerful in that moment because we made someone else feel shame. Happens all the time on social media, but everywhere. And we're just contributing to the shame spiral when we do that. We've got to disconnect from it. And that's what I teach people how to do in my work.
What I see is most people use it starting with our parents. Our mother, like you said, she was very good at that, okay? Using that shame to either make us be quiet or and all these things make them feel good about themselves, gave them that boost. Yeah,
Exactly.
I brought because my father used to say, I brought you down a peg. Yeah,
Yeah,
you brought me down.
exactly.
Yeah, right. So it made him feel good, but it made me feel bad. And you keep doing that to a person, you internalize each time it happens. And then you start to believe all this crap that's been fed to you. And then when you get out there in the real world, you don't know how to have a real relationship. You don't know what a healthy relationship even look like.
100%. And you don't where we can opt out of this shame spiral. It's very tempting when you experience shame to shame someone else because it gives us that feeling of power. But when we do that, we are participating in the very system that's damaging us. So we need to stop feeding the loop, feeding the spiral in order for us to have any capacity to create something new. That means stopping the shame spiral. It stops with me. I really work at not shaming other people. People might shame me, but I don't shame them back because when I'm feeding the loop, I'm creating more shame out into the world, and
Let me say
that's
this.
what I'm against.
Let me say this. The only way we can break the cycle is through self-awareness. We can say, oh, I did that to my child. Okay, well, let me take a step back and look at that and see what I can do differently in the future. Okay, if we have negative self-talk towards ourselves, we need to first stop that before we can stop it against our children, our spouse, our employer.
Yes.
So we have to do the inner work, the inner shadow
Exactly.
work.
Exactly. We have to stop attacking ourselves first, because most of us, unless you're a psychopath or something else, most of us only treat other people as badly as we treat ourselves. So if we're constantly telling yourself you're stupid, you're ugly, you're ridiculous, we're more likely to do that to other people. So we've got to stop attacking ourselves first, and then by default, we start respecting other people. We've got to respect ourselves first, and that's where my work comes in, breaking up with the inner narcissist, because it is a narcissist that we've internalized, and the scapegoat is the one who's internalized it more than any other individual within this pattern, because we internalize that pattern of self-attack. And then we go on to create our own families. And rather than addressing our shame, we pass it on to other people. That's why the abuse keeps going down. And scapegoats abuse other people too. If you don't address that trauma and break the cycle, you're going to pass it on to the next generation. So that's the job for all of us. Not everyone. Everyone needs to do their inner work to break up with shame. And then we stop feeding the cycle and we can start creating a new possibility, not just for us individually, but some other possibility for the.
Yes, and I'm glad you contacted me to have this conversation because I've been dealing with this my whole life and carrying all this around with me, and I was really tired. Now, since I realized the truth that has been suppressed, I'm free now and to live my life the way I want to. Okay, not defined by anybody else's rules. Okay, or ego or to try to satisfy somebody else. It's about satisfying ourselves. We deserve that. Okay? We deserve to be happy, whether other people think so or not.
Absolutely. We've got to we've got to take back our power, from this inner narcissist, as I call it. And then we stop being susceptible and manipulated by the narcissists of the world. Do we really have any chance of reclaiming our freedom? And I do have if there's anyone listening, I have a free guide. It's called 5 Signs It's Time to Break Up with Your Inner Narcissist. And it has my break system, which has worked for people who haven't even spoken to me. People have reached out to me and said they've worked with the break system and they've actually stopped the shame spiral in its tracks. And yeah, you can download that. It's at tinyurl.com/not today narc. I'll drop it in the chat as well, or you can send me a DM. But this break system, I found it powerful as well because I was addicted to shame. We all as a society are shooting up on the shame, and it's not only everywhere, it's encouraged and it's reinforced everywhere. When propaganda, advertisements, it all utilizes shame, so it's reinforced everywhere that shame is. So of course we shame ourselves, but we take back our power by breaking up with this inner narcissist, that voice inside that criticizes you, and then you just laugh at the insults that other people try to hurl at you. They need the hook in order for you to feel shame. And once you break the hook, you stop feeling other people's shame. You stop feeding the shame cycle. And you really take back a huge amount of power that you've been giving away to these narcissistic people and narcissistic systems.
So I'm gonna read some of these comments before we end. Kapanga said, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Said we need a new civilization globally.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. And they also said, I have trauma from being burnt. I feel I'm a canary in the gold mine. Whenever people mistreat me, I think those people are just insecure. You have to really bad about yourself if you have to put a disabled person down to feel good about yourself. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there like that. They're sadistic. Okay. And they said that also, I'm the one who graduated from college, so I'm the family financer. How convenient. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm sorry. That's a good thing that you are, but you just have to protect your energy and you have to protect yourself, okay? Um, let's see. She said G.I. Jane. Hey, okay. Yeah, been there, done that. Millie said, no, the movie couple of years ago. Oh, okay, it's all good. I'm not my hair. That's right, I'm not my hair. Bad Bunny, real is real. I know that's right. Okay? Reclaim your shameless. Love it. Okay? Yes. Put it up on your mirror in the bathroom. Okay? Millie said, I used to shame on my nephew recently because he was in Minnesota when CB something and ICE sent him the video. Okay. We all do things like that.
We've all done it. We've all shamed other people. So the trick is not to shame yourself for that, but next time recognize that shame does not work. Shame is not an effective regulator of behavior. I, for one, have been shaming myself all my life. It led me to depression, serious depression, suicidal ideation, darkness. That's where shame leads. Shame does not make people more accountable. Shame makes people two options, right? Shame into survival mode like nothing else, right? So puts you into survival mode and puts you into a shell, and then you want to attack the person that's shaming you or some kind of source in order to feel more powerful, or you attack yourself. That does not lead to accountability or change or transformation in the medium to long term. Sure, if I shame a child here who's speaking to shut him up, it looks powerful, it looks effective in the moment. The child is quiet, but the child only internalizes that feels bad. I'm not doing that. They don't learn anything from that. So shame is a terrible tool to teach people. It's not a good teaching tool. It's the opposite of accountability. Shame is the opposite of accountability. When people feel shame, they are a lot less likely to take accountability for their actions. They will go into attack mode or go into internalized attack mode. Those are the two options that we
These
have in
are
our society.
coping mechanisms, okay? We learn,
Exactly.
we learn as a child what it takes for us to survive, okay? And then we internalize that and we never forget it. And so all the relationships we have, we carry on those same characteristics, okay? To keep ourselves safe, okay? So how we deal with all these things, through going to therapy. I don't know if it can actually be resolved or not, but I do a lot of things on my own. Like I say, breathing and coming back to yourself and self-awareness and realizing that you went too far to the left and you need to come back and you need to be mindful of these things. Body scans, because your body tells you. Like Mel Robbins, 5 seconds. Sometime before you before you act, think hard, long and hard. How is this going to affect the person that you're talking to? Okay? Because it's going to have long-term effects. They might not say nothing to your face, but people don't forget. Because if you talk to me like that, I'm gonna be nice to you, but I'm gonna limit my conversations with you from there further. Okay, so we need to take all these things in consideration. That's what values all these things. Okay, but it's gonna be different from person to person. But self-awareness is key. What you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think self-awareness is the first step, Margaret, but then we've got to do the work to disconnect because you can get stuck there in self-awareness. I work with a lot of women and I was this woman too. They've been done all the therapy, they've done all the work. They can tell you I'm like this because my mother did this to me when I was 5 and I had experience in kindergarten when I was 7. They can tell you all that. They know all the things, but they're still operating out of the shame script. And this is the thing that I show people and help people to release so that you can finally be free. Because while you are operating out of shame, and all of us are to some degree, even I'm not completely free of shame, we're not really free. Shame is like the little marionette thing that's forcing us into certain behaviors and reactions without us even thinking about it. Shame is the biggest when people get really triggered, really angry, when it's totally out of proportion with what happened. 99 times out of 100, shame is present. Shame is present in one form or another. And shame is not healthy. Shame can never be healthy. And this is huge contradiction with the conventional wisdom, because conventional wisdom talks about toxic and healthy shame. Healthy shame, I believe, is a complete gaslight. There is no such thing as healthy shame. Shame is self-attack. It believes I am bad. Something is wrong with me. And by the way, that's the foundation of Christian society. Christians really spread this idea that you're a sinner, that something is wrong with you. This individualized type of shame, as I call it, is very kind of stems from Christianity. And interestingly, it's not something that Jesus taught. Jesus did not teach shame. The church taught shame. And something is wrong with you. Because why? Because shame is a very, very effective way of controlling people. When people internalize shame, you can get them to do anything. You don't need the guardrails. They do it for themselves. They internalize the jailer.
You know why? Because we're different. And they don't like people that are different. They want people like themselves. They want to keep the status quo. Okay? So if you're different, they're going to cast you out because you don't belong there. And I'm really glad that they casted me out because I didn't belong there. I did not. And sometimes you're better off with not knowing. Okay? I always wanted this family. And then once they came towards me, then I said, damn, now I see why I was kept out of that system because I don't belong there. And then
Exactly.
once we realize that, then you cut off access. That's the only thing you can do and walk away. If you want to live a peaceful and joyful life, cut the narcissist off.
And cut off the inner narcissist as well. Cut off that voice inside that says, I'm bad. Something is wrong with me. And I have tools to help people do that. So reach out to me if you're interested. So to really, because I had a very, very strong inner narcissist, or this inner critic used to say all kinds of horrible things to me. And I found a way to really break that pattern and break that cycle. And you can too. I don't believe shame is natural. Shame is never helpful. Shame is never healthy. And that idea is constantly reinforced in our culture that shame is good for you. We're told things like that Donald Trump is shameless when actually, and narcissists are operating out of repressed shame. So shame is the driver of narcissism as well. You know, they're not actually shameless. They're operating out of repressed shame that they're afraid of feeling. And that's why they attack you.
Also pride. Let's not forget pride too, okay?
Oh, yeah. Pride and shame. Exactly. They cover up the shame with pride. But shame is the kind of underlying substrate underneath it all. And I've found that shame is the substrate for so much dysfunction.
In the
Racism.
world.
We need
In the world.
we need shame in order to think I'm better than you. I'm better than you because I'm white, I'm black, whatever. I'm less than you. That's a shame hierarchy. We need shame in order to reinforce that pattern. So we need to dismantle the shame first, and then only then do we have any hope of creating a different world, and a different internal world within each of us as individuals, and a different kind of global landscape. I believe this is the most important conversation that's out there, because shame is making the world go round. Shame is fueling all this dysfunction. We live in a narcissistic world. Not this is not metaphorically, this is literally. Narcissists are running the world, and we've internalized this narcissistic voice. We need to break the power of these narcissistic systems. And that means breaking the narcissistic system that we've internalized within ourselves first.
Absolutely. Now, Emma, can you send me? Is that link on your site? I want to make sure to include it when I send out the article because I know Millie was asking about it. Okay, and I just want to make it available for everyone to have. You said you had that free resource.
Yeah, I'm going to pop it in the chat. It's tinyurl.com/not today narc, NOT today NARC, short for narcissist. And it has the whole break framework. So it gives you the guide out as well. But obviously this is deeper work, you know. I'm still working on releasing my shame. I don't claim to be perfect. And that's the thing about being shameless. When you're really shameless, you're not pretending to be perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect. I don't pretend to have it all figured out. I still feel feelings, but I'm not ashamed of them anymore. I don't hide it anymore, you know?
Yes, you set yourself free. So that link, can you add it to my DM, please? I want to make sure to make it available
Sure.
to everyone.
I will. I put it in the chat as well, although I don't think it'll be clickable there. It's tinyurl.com/not today narc, and you can download my guide.
I will make sure to include that link in the article when I send it out to everyone. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you
It
all
has
for
been.
coming. Yes, thank you so much. And thank you all for your time today. I appreciate you. And I will make sure to include your publication as well. Thank you so much, Emma, for contacting me to have this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me, Margaret. I really appreciate this conversation. It's been so good. And it's great to connect with a fellow scapegoat because sometimes as scapegoats,
Yeah, right.
we can feel so alone. You know, we could feel like we're the problem. And we're not. We can actually we're the truth sayers and we're showers of a new way forward. We can be when we release our shame and take back our power. That's the power of the
Yes.
scapegoat.
Yes, I'm scapegoat too. Yes. And the black sheep. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. We
Thank you,
appreciate
everyone.
you. Thanks again. Thanks, Emma.
Bye, Margaret. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.